Alright, so for the lack of finding any decent resources, information or videos on ADE motors, I'm just going to contribute what I've learned in the last while from friendly mechanics and old gentlemen who have been kind enough to spend time with me and show me what's going on in this motor. This is a 6-cylinder ADE 352, I think, or doesn't matter if it's a 352 or 366, whether it's in a bus, a truck or a bulldozer. The applications are almost all the same, just so that you may have a better or a rough shot idea of what you should be looking for. This engine is very sensitive to loss of pressure, both in fuel and water. Luckily, I've not had a loss of oil pressure yet. I think that is because when the fuel or water cracks a leak, even if it's a pinhole leak, also with the air actually, it loses pressure and goes into like a limp mode or backs off the pressure, and your engine will come to a stuttering halt. Will start up again, will splatter, and then will die out again. So your main culprit, or the main culprit so far, has been small leaks from perishable items like rubber hoses, clamps, joints, and pipes that might bend in contact, or someone stepping on it, or maybe a bump in the road. Though most of these, this is a Mercedes-Benz bus 1961. I have it. There's a chassis number 1971, but I have it as a 61 model. So let me just go through it piece by piece. Obviously, here comes the air intake. It comes from under the driver's seat, which is a whole box unit which you can take out, clean with an air compressor, and refit or replace. Air intake, here you can spray some quick start, insect repellent, deodorant, whatever, something that's flammable if you need to just motivate the engine to do a quick start situation. Careful not to flood it, careful not to give it too much, as you can damage the inside. I've also heard of people using brake cleaner, as it's less volatile, but this engine's been on the road for 60 years. I'm sure it's had all kinds of things sprayed into it. I've also heard of people using benzene. I think that's better due to the lubricant that's inside that form of what is it, oil. Anyway, that's just if you want to give it a quick start situation after you've had it standing for a while, or a cold start, or you've got an airlock, or you just need to get it going real urgently. Besides that, these motors have got what's called a pickup pump. It is found in the most ridiculous place. So there's the gear lever. It's found in the most ridiculous place. It's this black manual pump over here, which creates pressure from being, let's see, where's a light here? Light, here we go. From being pumped up and down. It's just a little pump. It's called a pickup, and that creates, or that sucks fuel out of the diesel tank forward into the let's call it the injectors and the injector distribution housing. That's my dog drinking. I thought that was fuel returning to the tank, which you can also hear. If you pump that pickup pump, it brings fuel to the lines basically, and it even has a return pipe which will dump fuel back into the diesel tank once the correct pressure has been built up in your 6 injector lines. I'm going to just use some mixed language here, what I've heard and what I have been calling it. Here are your 6 injector lines, separated each by a return line. Injector lines, return line over here, going back to the tank. And we also found a leak on the pickups suction pipe. Yes, where's my hand here? This is the pickup pipe, goes all the way to the pickup. In the front you'll see it's new. It's a new rubber pipe that goes into the pickup, replaced because we found a very small leak on the underside, which was causing part of the stutter at one part of our journey. Also, when you quick start the motor with some liquid motivation, you can undo your injector nuts one or two small turns, it just increases the air and the flow and reduces the resistance on the start. They should weep or leak as you start up and go, and you just take an 18 spanner and tighten them back up manually as the engine is spluttering and coming to life. So loosen lefty loosey, righty tighty. Don't loosen or touch the return lines unless they are leaking, but those are return lines, so they're not under tremendous pressure. Each of them and this line have got pressure regulators where fuel comes in and comes out depending on the pressure built up in the housing here that regulates the different lines to the injectors. You can also open these guys up. There's one here and one in the back bottom, or the other side bottom. Careful opening them up to check for flow. Careful opening them up because there are seals and washers, rubber and metal, various. Just be sure not to drop anything, or at least have replacement ones available. Maybe just a nice sheet under the bus or under the engine, so that whatever falls through can be gathered in case you don't have spares if you're in a isolated location and such. What else? This is the handbrake. For those that don't know, I didn't know. It just jacks up and releases by pushing this down or standing on it. Here's your air brakes to use on downhills to save your brakes, which are down there obviously, because the brakes are not enough on this bus and they warm up and you can lose your brakes. That's why you drive this vehicle in gears, appropriate gears to control the vehicle, especially on decline, because it also won't engage into 4, 3, 2, 1 like a regular vehicle if it's over a certain speed. So you need to stop, get this vehicle in the correct gear, and have your air brakes ready and have your normal brakes ready. You're working in a triangle braking and control sort of system. As we go along, this has not got a serpentine fan belt. It's got 3 different fan belts, and this fan belt works alone onto the motor, back onto the air compressor for the brakes. And on the other side you have here 2 fan belts. Now the trick with these are, obviously you'll see as you go that on the alternator, generator, alternator. This is a very old generator alternator which we are keeping alive by checking it often and reconditioning it and trying to keep it clean. Just a recent water mess we've been cleaning up, which came from here. These 2 hoses actually go to this fan around the front to the passenger seat for hot air. So there used to be old heating and cooling and whatever with control taps on them, but we've had to just reseal them, recut them, reclamp them. And when I get the opportunity, when I'm close to a town again, I've been told 1/2 inch or whatever size plugs, similar to what you use to plug water lines in our house, to just plug these 2 and take these lines off, because we have no need for that. If you're cold, put on a jacket. If you're hot, open a window. So anyway, getting back to the non-serpentine fan belt, so just normal fan belt. There are 2 over here. One is driving the alternator and one is driving the fan for the radiator, and it's got a loosening rod on the alternator. There's your loosening bolt. First you loosen it from its rail and then you move it along its rail on this one. That reminds me, I haven't tightened this one up. I should do it while I'm seeing it right now. The most common size spanners for this vehicle is 18 and 19, 13, 14. The first thing you want to get when you start working on motors of this size is bigger tools, bigger clamps, bigger screws, bigger electric connecting points and clamps and things like this nature, because everything is extra size on this, and you can get away for a while with regular clamps and regular vehicle clamps. Okay, I've got the wrong spanner here. I'll sort it out just now. What's important here and what's valuable to know is, once you've loosened your guiding rod and your holding nut, to put those fan belts on, you have to feed it over the fan blade, and then rotate the fan blade and keep feeding the fan belt over the fan blade and rotate the fan blade, and the fan blade becomes the lever, which then pulls the fan belt over itself and then back onto the 2 points of connection, or the 2 points of guiding, the circular rails on the motor head. What was important that I figured out at night, which was very important, otherwise I would have ripped them back off, is they work in alternating sides on my motor, so be aware of that. It's not inside rail, and outside rail, outside rail. It's inside, outside, and outside in. Just be aware of that. Have a look at it, work carefully, and just see it, that they line up properly. Attention, a layman's or bush tension rule is, if you can turn the fan belt 90 degrees with your hands without too much force, and it jumps back, then you're kind of cool. But the new fan belt should be checked every 1 or 2 weeks after it's been put in, due to it will wear down a little bit, get suited, get warmed up, stretch a bit, whatever, and just tighten it back up with the guiding rod down there, the threaded guiding rod. As I mentioned before, this is the generator alternator. The newer, the replacement of this is now a Bosch alternator, I hear, or something similar. There's obviously power, neutral, live, whatever. My power had come loose. This little guy just pulls off, and this cap comes off, and you can expose the screws. Keep them oiled when you have the chance to do it. While I'm in the fan, there's a little cap here. I hope you can see it. Yes, I can see it. So this cap screws off, and inside it's got grease, which you fill up, and then just slowly over time squeeze it back tight while tightening it, forcing the grease into the fan mechanical area for lubrication. What else before we go to the front of the bus is valuable to know? So these lines here are all to do with the fuel in and fuel out. We recently found a kink in a return line, so that'll be off either this one, return line, injector, return line, injector. On one of the return lines, I wonder if I can see it now. I've just got, where was it? I took a photo of it. There was an ever so slight squeeze, so compression and kink, bend in the line, which might be obstructing and causing also a stutter, which we are busy sorting out at the moment. And but it's a return line, so it's not under massive pressure. It's just sending fuel back to the diesel tank. But we will pay attention. Be aware, you have to look for kinks, so bends, compressions, breakages, any kind of leak, air, fuel, water, even at the smallest, tiniest little pinhole leak affects this motor. And I think it was designed like that to keep the gasket safe in the engine from burning out, because that's what it's doing right now, and I'm thankful for it because of losing gaskets in other vehicles. All right, just below me here is the starter. You can barely see it here under the branches, or the downpipes, or whatever you call, manifold, whatever you call it. Here's the starter. It also had a perished power cable, which we have now reclamped and replaced. Again, I was short, let's call it man-size electrical joints and clamps. Luckily, a friend of mine close by could bring me one off a vehicle that's not being used right now. Water and water, air and water, compression and cooling, radiator, fan, super important, keeping that thing checked out. I think I have covered most of what's on this side that's important. Let me just browse with my eyes what I've been, here we go, just had to cut and reclamp these to just keep the water from coming out, but I'm going to just seal them up as soon as I get into a city or a town. Air I mentioned, and that I mentioned. That's about it. Here's your fuel regulating housing unit, and that's the names of what needs to be known here. Okay, let's move to the front of the vehicle. Okay, yeah, we have oil in, water in, radiator. All right, very important, keep clean. You need antifreeze in this radiator to keep it clean, not just unfrozen. It helps with the anti-rust situation. We had to take off this whole thing. Well, not take it off. You actually loosen it down the sides and on top and by the fan on the inside, and the whole bracket. It's got a whole bracket and housing and what's the name of this thing? It's like a bracket and a mounting, and then the whole thing fits in together. It's a 3-piece that comes down the bottom of the vehicle should you want to remove it to work on the fan or the fan belts more easily. But you can, we did refit the fan belts from the inside at night. A little bit of blind hand work, but you can do it. Just keep calm and keep track of which belts are going where. Here's that a heat and cooling fan thing from the passenger side. It used to have these hoses, these tinfoil I don't know, hoses that I ripped out. They did nothing. They were actually attached to what looked like a vacuum cleaner head. Ripped it out, threw it away. It was doing absolutely nothing. Oil I said, water I said, dipstick down here. Here's your dipstick, hidden away, tricky, got it, find it. Here's your power steering reservoir. On my first trip, I think I put in 2 pints. It disappeared, got no power steering, thought I had a problem with the power steering. Did 6 hours of driving and maneuvering with flat tires and no power steering. That is the workout of my life. And then popped in another pint or 2 and suddenly the power steering came on. What a dream. Underneath also you find here are the 2 diesel filters. You loosen them with a 13 nut from the top, and they just come down. Make sure you replace the seals. Be careful because the nuts on top have got metallic seal rings. Don't lose them, or make sure you replace them. It's a little bit wet now because I've just been working here. I'll clean it up now and come check the tightening. Diesel filters, there's a primary and a secondary. If I remember the order, this is a primary, that's a secondary. The primary's got a much more vented filter, and the secondary's got a much more sponge cotton wool type of filter to really get the last bit of dirt. Big dirt, small dirt. First filter, second filter into the fuel lines. I wonder if I can see that bent pipe from here. No, I can't. Alright, what else? Oil filter. You can loosen this nut and bleed a bit of oil out if you want to just check the oil, or you can take off the whole thing. Take off the housing and replace the oil filter inside. What am I not showing? That's about it on this side. Steering. Something I didn't pick up that someone showed me. Going along my steering, he showed me that there are small cracks in my metal, in my steering bracket. Here's one here. Can I get my finger on it? Yes, here. But we're going to re-weld and fix that now. And there was one in the back as well, but he showed me, and we'll do that. Just be aware as you look across metal, especially things that are holding things under tension. See if they got little cracks, if they're coming loose or what. Luckily we don't drive at high speeds. The vehicle is very safe. It's got a magnificent Mercedes-Benz suspension, and I'm trying to keep this only mechanical and technical, but the fuel tank sits here and runs underneath. Fuel coming out with gravity. You can also loosen this bolt to see if things come out, to see if dirt build up in diesel. Diesel obviously very famous for being dirty fuel. But you can loosen the nut here and check it and bleed and get the tank empty if you need to. And then there goes the single line with, if you track it under the vehicle, 2 lines come back into the tank. So those are the 3 lines you can check. If you suspect there's dirt buildup, you can loosen those lines, catch the fuel or block the fuel and blow them out with an air compressor. Or if you don't have that, just your mouth and lung capacity for the time being, just so you can get stuff out or make a plan. Yeah, that's the most important things thus far and so far. Also on the fuel line, we're about to fit a small inline fuel pump to help the fuel come forward, because that pickup is a pain in the arse, especially if you have a leak on the line, to build up pressure and get the vehicle going. We're going to fit a small 4 to 4.5 bar normal car fuel pump onto the fuel line to get the pressure to build up immediately for the start. One more thing I can mention that was interesting that I found out: the bigger batteries, I was trying to fit lines and fittings onto batteries with these bloody things on, trying to get them around and grab onto this and hold onto this, and the guy said just screw them off. They screw off and you just put your line on there and then screw these back on. You don't need to make it go attached or clamp onto this like you see in some other vehicles. And be aware that your battery can maybe do this. And yeah, remember to have big tools with you. Remember, you also have to always have quick start, instant start, or at least some insect spray, deodorant works, anything that's flammable and sprayable. I think it's benzene. No, it wasn't. Sure, it's benzene. Some guy said you can use benzene as well. And it sounds like it could, because it's going to burn and it's got a lubricant inside, so it can't be that bad for the motor. I think that's the reason. Besides that, you need the right batteries to create the right current. This engine starts on a 24 volt, and inside there's a variety between 24 and 12 volt between my inverters and power for the different appliances. That's a very big fuse that lives here where the batteries live. They are then obviously placed here in series, connected up in series. Let an electrician do that for you, a car electrician who knows what he's doing. If you're not getting spark on the motor, also be aware that it might just be because one battery is flat or one battery has burned out its fuse, which gives you a clicking sound or no sound even if your battery has power. Be very careful when working around your batteries with bare tools like these, because you can touch sides and give yourself a nasty bite. Use your hands when you say you're working here. Use your hands to work towards other power points, or use protected tools which don't conduct. If you're stuck in a situation where your solenoid or starter won't kick to life, won't swing the motor, you can tap it with a big spanner or bar or anything metallic. You just go knock against the solenoid or starter, which I showed you was down there. You should know where in your engine your solenoid and starter is, just the location, even if you don't know how they work. I don't know exactly how they work, but I know you can use a big spanner or a wrench, or I've been using this nice round bar from my socket wrench set, just to tap it, tick, tick, tick. It kind of gets the magnet or whatever loose inside, just so it can swing 1 or 2 or 10 more times till you can get where you're supposed to be. But eventually your solenoid or starter, whatever's giving problem, is going to pack up. Have it checked, replaced, refurbished. Also, one last thing, with a bare naked metallic tool like this, you can connect the positive and negative of your, is it now the solenoid or the starter? I need to find that out. You should find that out as well, to basically short circuit the whole starting mechanism through the ignition, to make the engine swing and start, should you be in a situation where your starter or something has packed up, or you're missing a wire, or you can't swing it via the ignition and dashboard kind of area. That's one way of hot starting the vehicle, and I'm sharing that because normally your starter and solenoid is hidden in the engine, and you need access to the vehicle and its engine bay in order to do that. And then I think that's about it for now. Yeah. Alright, I just want to capture this for my own knowledge, and for the next person who might own this vehicle, and anyone else who's struggling with an ADE motor. This is a 6-cylinder ADE 352, if I have it right in my head, from Mercedes-Benz 1961, chassis marked 71, so whatever it is. Okay, I hope this helps someone. I just want to add, with your diesel filters on all vehicles, and especially these ones, make sure you fill them up with clean diesel before refitting them. Makes the starting sequence much easier. On some vehicles you're going to really struggle. Luckily this vehicle has got a pickup pump, and we'll have an inline pump now after today. But always fill up your diesel filters with clean diesel when refitting them to make your life easier. Also remember, on oil filters, where's that big one now? Your oil filters need on the seals and rings on the rubber, you put some oil to help them not perish and come loose easier when you replace them again after your mileage or time period. Alright. Also, here you have your brake and clutch reservoirs for fluids, ATF and .4, something like that, or find out what fluids your vehicle needs. Another fuse box housing that just clicks down and opens up. I don't want to open all these up now because they've recently been cleaned and sealed and checked. And then some other electric management over here. But very important, when your clutch goes hard or you can't find a gear, come check this culprit first, check its levels, and here's your brakes as well. Clutch, brake, fuel. The first time I tried to stop this bus and put it off after starting it, it would not switch off at the ignition. The older driver showed me to pull back on your accelerator until it chokes and dies, but I was afraid of breaking this or pulling it off or damaging it, because I'd done that to a microbus before by accident, by wear and tear, and was a big issue trying to get home. So you can also go inside the engine bay, and there, this guy moves backwards and forwards for the accelerator for the fuel, can be pushed right back to choke out the engine. But the easiest, and what I've been doing and what the older drivers have been showing me, is placing your vehicle in second, third, or like fourth. Apply your handbrake up and apply your brake, and then just release the clutch so that the vehicle basically stalls. Then you've got a situation where your handbrake is up, your vehicle is in gear, and it's off and holding itself. All right. These guys need oil. I'm going to spray them now. I'm going to keep spraying them until the day I need to take them off, because there's going to be a story getting them off, and if I don't have an air gun, I'm going to struggle. So I'm going to start treating those. Also, there are grease nipples all over the bus. There's one right there. You need a grease gun to keep those greased up for lubrication on joints and moving parts. You'll have to get to know your vehicle, as I'm getting to know my vehicle, in order to find out where they are and keep them lubricated. Cool. Also, the nuts or the bolts on top of these diesel filters can also be loosened while pumping the pickup, in order to get air out of the system should it be there, kind of like bleeding the fuel line. Also similar to what I mentioned earlier, loosening those injectors to get the air out and pump the fuel through, just bleeding the system. Final thoughts that I just thought of now, in that pickup pump, some pickup pumps can have a little sieve filter as well, which can be checked. The pickup itself can perish or need to be serviced, refurbished, or replaced. And someone who might have serviced or worked on the fuel line or diesel tank before could have left a bag or a cloth used to wipe or block with, and is now causing a problem, if it is not just from age and rust or dirt buildup, which is now swishing backwards and forwards in your tank, blocking your fuel line. And of course, some newer models might have a pump in the tank, a scoop in the tank, or a reservoir in the tank which holds fuel or feeds fuel that might be malfunctioning. But I just wanted to mention that little pickup pump might have a sieve inside. Alright, I'll keep adding to this as I go, but that's where you can start by checking basic functions and things. Yeah, cool. There are two fuse boxes in the dashboard. One is there, which was mainly appliances and motors and things around the bus. None of them work anymore, so it's been stripped and I have no fuses. And the second one, oops, still need to fix that hinge, is over here. As you can see, it's old type fuses, which in South Africa you can buy from a Guara shop, from the Indians or Chinese, or the guys at, or a China mall, or Excitement store or in the Eastern Cape, Bala do stock those old type fuses. Remember to have those with you, but if you don't have fuses, you can use thin copper wire to bind the 2 points. Careful for fire threat or fire risk, but just to get going. Alright, cool. I just thought of some more information. Your batteries, which are in series here, if you're going to jumpstart, connect your cables onto the primary or closest battery to the fuse and starting sequence to generate that extra power. This bus can also be run start in a gear, or bump start or pull started, manual over automatic, still preference, because if you get stuck with an automatic doesn't want to start, you can't pull that thing, sometimes not tow it, and you can't run start it down a hill, say if you've lost some part of your starting sequence. Just thought of that now.